Hello, CAA fans. Griffin Della Penna back once again. Hope that your beginning of the academic year is off to a great start. And that means that our CAA Insider Alumni Edition series continues. And here today we have an Elon women's basketball alum who then turned into a Emmy award-winning newscaster. And now you can see her basically everywhere with NBC Sports as a play-by-play broadcaster and a sideline reporter. But if I had to guess, her biggest accomplishment is now being a mother to two adorable twins. Zora Stephenson, thank you for taking the time today.
Not a problem. Happy to be here, Griffin. Elon is very, very special to me, and because of that, so is the CAA.
Oh, thank you for that. And you have had such an incredible journey that does have a large part to do with Elon. But before your time there with the Phoenix, we'll go back to your upbringing and how growing up in Virginia, sports were a huge part of your life. Where did your love for basketball truly originate from?
Yeah, it originated in the cul-de-sac of my cousin's neighborhood. I had four older cousins, and they all could shoot on the 10-foot hoop. And here I am, like 3, 4 years old, and every weekend when I'd go to their house, I'd like try to get to the 10-foot hoop. Couldn't. It was the hoops where you could adjust the height, right? And so they'd always have to adjust it for me. And finally, years and years go by, and I can finally shoot on the 10-foot hoop. And that's really where it originated. And then if you get even deeper into it, it really, fostered the bond that my dad and I have. In middle school, every Friday night, we would go to the Oakton High School girls basketball game. And we did that every Friday night until I was in high school. And then we were going to my games. So yeah, I think in short, it's just family. Basketball is family.
And it's really cool that you just brought up Oakton because I have your high school stats here. 101-8 record during your time there, which is absolutely insane. Four district titles, three regional titles, and then a state runner-up. So during your high school basketball experience, at what point did you start to see some college teams maybe start to reach out to you and that recruiting process really start to come to its own?
Yeah, I think sophomore year I realized maybe it was a possibility. And then my junior year, I actually started playing AAU for Boo Williams, which is this like mega AAU circuit. I mean, think Allen Iverson, right?
Right.
Allen Iverson played for Boo Williams. And so I got an opportunity to be a part of that team. And then that's when a lot of stuff started to come in. And I was playing with, some really, really talented athletes that are even now in the WNBA. So yeah, I think maybe sophomore year, but it was always a goal of mine. I remember I got my first ever offer via the phone, and I was home alone at that time, and the call came in from a head coach, and I literally bawled because I think it was just an influx of emotions of everything that I had worked for. And when it came to picking Elon, I went on a visit there. I was actually going to another school to visit, but Elon was on the way. So we said, oh, let's just stop at Elon. And as soon as I got on campus, I was like, all right, my search is done. It was just a feeling. It just felt right. And my gut was going in the right direction because Elon has set me up for so much.
And you've been on record saying that before that visit, you didn't know really anything about Elon. You just knew that you had an
Correct.
offer there and hey, we're going to take a quick stop there. And you mentioned getting on campus, knowing that it felt like home. Do you think that's more because it was a smaller school? It felt like family? Where do you think that really came from?
Great question. I think it was because they incorporated more than just basketball into my visit. And basketball was and is still very important to me, but I always thrived more on the court when I had other things going on as well. Like when all my attention goes to one thing, I can kind of mess up my mind a little bit. And so I was really pleased and almost surprised at the fact it was Karen Barefoot at the time was the head coach, and she showed me around to the Multicultural Center, the School of Communications. I mean, just so many other avenues that I could dip my feet in while I was at Elon. And the fact that the head basketball coach was encouraging that was just something different. I'd gone everywhere else and they just said it's all ball all the time. And which I understand, like that's, how we got an opportunity to go there and be on scholarship. But understanding the holistic approach of the entire human being really, really resonated with me.
So then you decide to go to Elon and have an immediate impact as well as a freshman. You're getting on the court, you shot like 42% from three in your freshman year too. So you're having success, but then you're also doing a lot, like you mentioned, off the court as well, getting involved on campus. What area was that? Was that a struggle maybe early on in terms of time management when you have basketball, but then trying to also think about your career and longevity away from
Yeah.
the court as well?
Yeah, my freshman year was actually really, really hard. And I think for any athlete that goes to the collegiate level, like you're one of the best in high school and you have free reign to just play your game. And then you get to college and you're really in someone else's system. There's a number of people that are better than you, faster than you, stronger than you, have more experience than you, and you're just trying to figure it all out. You're like, wait, where is my dorm room? Right? Like it's just so much going on freshman year. It can be overwhelming. So freshman year, I really was all about ball. And then my sophomore year was when I started to integrate different parts of campus. And it's just, for me, that's when basketball started to get better. I started my sophomore year all the way through the rest of my career. And um, I kind of found my way. So I did everything from like campus television. I hosted the in-arena programming for the football games. I was even a resident assistant. So an RA, I tutored, I was a tour guide, like all these different things. And I met so many different people and it just really enhanced my experience. And then when I went to basketball, I was really excited about it because I wasn't, you're not dreading conditioning as much as you were because, you've got all these other things going on. I could just be present at basketball when I was at basketball. So it really helped me.
And you had some change in basketball. You mentioned that Coach Barefoot was the one who initially brought you in, but then you
Mhm.
were there for the first few years of Coach Smith, and now she's about to enter her 15th year with the program and came from UNC and had a great, playing career, but also was an assistant. So, where did you also see her growth and development from your time as a freshman and then continuing on in her first head coach job?
Well, it's what, yeah. I mean, when I was a freshman, that was Coach Smith's first year. And it's a unique experience when the person who recruits you is not the person that ends up coaching you. And kudos to Coach Smith. Like, she embraced me and the rest of my class right away. There was never any pressure. Like, she was like, you all are here for a reason. And I think it worked out for a lot of us, right? We had really positive experiences at Elon. And I talked about all that I was able to do. Like, what first drew me to Elon, Coach Smith carried that on. I mean, there was so many summers where I was off doing internships and she was like, Zora, I trust you to keep up with the programming and know that you're going to work out. And so I, was in leagues in DC over the summer. One of my teammates and I, we spent the entire summer in New York City. And so we were doing pickup games like on concrete in New York City. And so kudos to Coach Smith for embracing all that Elon is. Not everybody does that. And I'm just so grateful to her because she allowed Zora to be Zora on the court and off the court. So yeah, we still keep in touch, and the fact that she's been there now for 15 years makes me feel old. It's wild how fast time flies.
It definitely does. And you mentioned how when you were doing so much stuff off the court that then made you better on the court, you were the
Yeah.
team's most improved player as a junior. And then your senior year, you had 82 threes. That was your first year in the CAA and had a lot of success going to the semis. Eventually lost to JMU, who had Kenny Brooks at the time, and now he's off to doing great things. But you
Yeah.
also had a bid into the WNIT. So when you look back at that senior year, what are some of the things that really stand out to you?
Well, you're noticing a trend here, right? You talked about how many threes I had in a season in high school and how many threes I had my senior in college. So you can probably guesstimate what I did on the court, right? Right corner was my spot. We're coming off the handoff. And
Yep.
back then we didn't call it logo, but it was pretty darn near close, like a couple feet behind the line. So if somebody went under a screen, I knew I was putting it up. So yeah, that senior year was special. And to go to the WNIT was amazing. And I think it was the catalyst for the next 2 years, right? Like it was like, chopping wood, right? Like, so we go to the NIT and then the next 2 years, the team goes to the NCAA tournament. I mean, Coach Smith and some of my teammates had back-to-back CAA championships. And so early in their tenure in the conference is really incredible. But yeah, that transition to a new league, it was fun. You get to go to a lot of different places. The scouting report's a lot different too, because it's like, okay, first time around, maybe people don't really like know who you are, but you play some teams a second time and it's like, okay, all right, we understand we're on a different level here. So it was a really positive experience and glad that Elon is still enjoying its run in the CAA.
As you were approaching graduation, you were involved on campus with the, student television station. Where was your mind at in terms of next steps to now kind of take your focus away from basketball and think long term? I know that you were in Greenville, South Carolina as a reporter, but
Yeah.
was there a sense of, hey, do I want to go right into sports or am I just trying to get as much experience as I can?
Yeah, well, as much as I had a ton of things going on, basketball is still my heart. So I remember my senior night my senior year, and you can tell my emotions. I just let them out. So I just bawled. I mean, I was in the locker room before the game, and they had all these nice things in our locker for the seniors that year. And I think that was the moment that it hit me that I will never play basketball in this way again. I mean, it is such a unique experience to have all your best friends within like walking distance, and you practice together, you eat together, you cry together, you laugh together, you fight, you get mad at each other. I mean, it's just a there's nothing like a locker room, and I haven't had it since. Right now you go to work and those are your coworkers. Those aren't really, it's just a different dynamic, and it hit me, and that was hard and challenging. And yeah, I'm looking forward, and I'm like, okay, what do I want to do next? I knew I always wanted to do sports. Like that was everything that I was working towards, but sports, and I think you probably understand this. You're in the business. Like a lot of jobs aren't online. Like, a lot of jobs are not posted. It's knowing who's the hiring manager. It's knowing that somebody's going to leave. It's getting in somebody's queue before, the job is, out there for the ether for everybody to inquire about it. And so I, didn't understand that space coming right out of college. And so Elon has a renowned communications program, and I had a professor that was really in tune on the news side. And whether I went news or sports, I knew I would need to know how to be on TV. I would need to know how to deliver on air, be comfortable in front of the camera, tell all different types of stories, be clear, concise, all these things. And had a really good friend. Her name was Jasmine Turner, and she was all into the news stuff, and she really kind of showed me the way. So I applied everywhere. I even thought about some graduate programs, and ended up getting a job in Greenville, and I was there for 2 years and did everything. And it's funny, my dad calls that graduate school just because I was running around like I could go 2 hours one way for a story, have to find a McDonald's for Wi-Fi, and send it back to the station by 4 p.m. and then set up my own live shot. I mean, it was madness. Every day it was just like, the countdown to the clock, making sure my story got on air. I was there for 2 years, and then continued to work my way up in the news space till I kind of hit an epiphany, I think, 4 years into news. And I was like, Zora, remember what the like original dream was? And then I pivoted to try to figure that out.
And when you look back at those times too, when you're getting so much hands-on experience, even though it was in news, all of those skills are still applicable to the sports
Oh
side.
my
So
goodness.
when
Yeah.
then you're looking at, okay, I'm now in Colorado, I continue to advance my career on the news side, were you kind of maybe, I wouldn't say adamant about switching at that point in time, but was there maybe a sense of, hey, if I don't kind of get into sports now, maybe it's going to be too late. Maybe this is the time for me to continue and take that path.
Yeah, well, my first actual ever sports assignment was with the CAA. I was doing analyst work for the women's basketball championship the first year that Elon won. And then I was doing sideline for the men's championship. So the CAA actually gave me like my first on-air gig in sports, which is amazing. I think that's like, so full circle. And then I went to Colorado, and I was doing the same thing on the side, like working with Metro State, which is a D2 school, and calling their games. And I just had a really tough story. There's actually a Netflix documentary on it now, but it was just a really, really sad story about a family that was basically killed. And I went home that night and I said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I mean, the subjects I was covering, I mean, just think of the worst thing wherever you live every day, I was going to it. And it was really mentally draining. And so I continued my news job, but I tried to do as much sports on the side as possible. And I was sending my tape out everywhere. Sometimes you get an answer, most of the times you don't. Even a no was progress because at least you responded to me, right? And um, my agent knew that there was an opening with the Milwaukee Bucks. And again, threw my name in the hat, went about my life, didn't think anything of it. And next thing I know, they're like, hey, can you come for an interview? And I go for an interview. Hey, can you come for a second interview? And that job, it was like all those years of preparation, doing sports on the side, all my news work, because I'm on TV every single day. I'm actively like getting reps every single day. My Hooper background all culminated in those interviews in Milwaukee, and that job changed the trajectory of my career. It just opened up so many more opportunities, not just in the reporter role, play by play, doing different types of sports. So, yeah, I mean, my journey is like building blocks, right? Like, you start something and I just continue to try to build everywhere I go.
And one of the ways where I feel like you've really set yourself apart is being a storyteller, because in the news side, that's what you had to do every single
Yep.
day. So then you go to Milwaukee, and now you're a part of a great Bucks team and a part of their coverage, but being a storyteller was a way that you could almost differentiate your coverage in a way. Was there a story during your time in Milwaukee that you really take a lot of pride in?
Yeah, and of course, it's something that happened off the court. There's two stories that stand out to me during my time in Milwaukee. And what I loved about my role in Milwaukee is, yes, I did the broadcast. Like, yes, I was a sideline reporter that did the interviews during the game and did various stories during the game. But there's also like a lot of shoulder storytelling that you could see digitally or during our pre or post game shows. So I love the creative freedom that that role gave me and everybody around me encouraging that. Like every day I would come like, hey, can we do this? I have this idea. So the Bucks are a very community-oriented organization, and so just maybe that's why we clicked, right? Like, yes, everything on the court is very important, but so are things off the court. So the majority of the team actually went to a prison my first year, coaches included, and sat in this circle with inmates, and they were all just telling their stories. And if you didn't know that Giannis was Giannis, you could have just thought it was just people just sharing life journeys, right? And the different things that they had been through. And it was just so powerful to me. And I knew we were going to do something on it. I knew we were going to cover it. And I said, let's just put mics on people. Like, let's just mic people up. Nobody needs to have Zora interview them. Like, this is enough in itself. And I just put mics on people. And then after we had this really intimate, emotional talk, then they went to the basketball court and played pickup. And the Bucks players were the coaches and the inmates actually mixed in with the coaches from the Bucks, and that's who played in the game. And they brought the mascot there, and it was like, I mean, they had popcorn. It was, I had never seen anything like it. And it was just such an incredible experience. I said, we have to bring this to the viewers. And so after we were done, I took all the footage that we had. It was hours of footage, and I just let their voices weave in and out. And my first line of that story, I'll never forget, was, um, it's incredible the power of a round orange ball. And that is true with that story. That is true with my life. I mean, it's true whatever avenue of sports you're in, like sports changes lives. And so, yeah, that story won an Emmy, and I'm really, really proud of it because I was really honored to be there that day. And the second story that I'm really proud of with my time with the Bucks, where it really integrated with my news background, is you go to the bubble in 2020, and the Milwaukee Bucks decide not to play after Jacob Blake gets shot in Kenosha, which is a suburb of Milwaukee. And we were on the air at that point, and we had to still fill 3 hours that was supposed to be the slot for the game. And had I not had a news background, which, I'm used to, we call it wall to wall, like if you're in weather coverage or breaking news, you just have to feed information to the viewers. That's what I had to do that day with the Bucks. I mean, we turned into kind of a news program, and you didn't have any preparation for that. We all walked in that day thinking we are going to talk about basketball. So I know I mentioned these building blocks. It's like all the experiences you have, it's preparation, meeting, opportunity. And yeah, and of course, and then there's fun, right? Like culminating with the championship and all that. There's a lot of light moments mixed in. But yeah, the Bucks, it was a time. It was awesome. I love my time there.
Even though you mentioned your day-to-day job was kind of being on the sideline and helping with the pre and post game coverage, what was it like to have an employer who saw that you did do play-by-play and wanted to also invest time in
Yeah.
you to continue your skill set in that role and then give you an opportunity to be the first female in Bucks history to be in a role like that?
The way that the Milwaukee Bucks invested in me is, I don't, unique is not even the word. It's like unheard of. The way, like, I mean, the president of the team comes to me and says, hey, like, I want to help you learn this role. And they didn't know if I do. I mean, I don't do that role for them, right? Like they taught me how to do a role, and then I end up leaving and do the role elsewhere. It's like, I mean, in business, they would be like, "Wait, you invested and you don't even get to like reap the benefits of it, right?" Like, so I am forever grateful for that entire organization. Griffin, I used to call games. I would record some of my sideline hits, and then I would call the game on the side so I could get like a real live rep, and the pre and post game analysts would call the game with me so that I could have, full experience. I mean, the way that like everybody did more to help me, I don't feel worthy of it, and the only way that I can repay them is to do my best job every single day and to help other people whenever I can. It's like when I talk about that story out loud, it's beyond me. And the fact that I was, the first woman to call a Bucks game, it's not like when we set out to do this, they're like, yeah, it's the goal, for you to like be the first woman to do this. No, they were just trying to help me learn the role. And then I got like halfway decent. I wouldn't even say fully decent, halfway decent. And they're like, all right, you can do a real game. Let's see what a real game sounds like. And then it was like the day before where the full-time play-by-play at that point, Jim Paschke told me that no other woman had ever done it. Like the history part of it happened. It wasn't, something that we were seeking out.
It really just gives me goosebumps, like hearing the
It's nuts. It's
culmination of
nuts. I
that.
don't even like, yeah, yeah. The Milwaukee Bucks they're like that. And they will forever. I mean, I work for a national network, but I will always be open about, I mean, I will always be a Bucks fan forever.
So those building blocks as you continue to progress your career eventually land with NBC Sports and
Yeah.
another huge role to advance your own career. Was that almost another moment in your life where it's just surreal to be at that point in your career for NBC and not even just a part of their women's basketball coverage, but then going to the Olympics and talking to some of the greatest athletes in the world and allowing fans to see your coverage?
Yeah. Everybody, like every step of your career, people always ask you what the dream is. And for so long, I was living in the dream, especially the Buckshot. I was like, this is the dream, right? And then you get another opportunity. I'm like, whoa, like, I mean, I am doing right now, my role is something I couldn't even envision, which I think is such a blessing. I mean, for them to, yes, I call women's basketball games, that's my lane, but I'm also a reporter for Big Ten football and Notre Dame football. And you mentioned gymnastics at the Olympics. For NBC to feel like I have the ability to thrive in those roles. Again, like my career is a culmination of people seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself. And then I get these opportunities and I have to just you know, jump into it and act like I know. So yeah, it's been a really, really cool ride. And I always want to be like grounded and grateful for it. I never, ever, ever take it for granted. Like, yes, it is a job and there's highs and lows with any job, but to be able to get to do this and go to sporting events for a living and doing it at the level that I'm doing it at, it all winds back. And for me, all started with family, right? And I want to make sure I keep that at the forefront.
Versatility is so important in really every profession, but specifically
Yes,
here in
100%.
broadcasting. When
Yeah.
you look at what you've been able to do with NBC and calling Caitlin Clark's shot from the logo, maybe your range as well, like we were talking
No,
about
no, 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 no,
earlier,
no. Different range, different range.
or talking to Simone Biles after a gold medal, or even on the sidelines talking to Marcus Freeman for Notre Dame football. Where has your ability really continued to progress and seen yourself grow, even though you're in this role every single day, continue to get better?
In every way, right? In all that we do, and I think in life, like it's reps, right? So reps in different spaces. Me realizing that it doesn't matter what sport. I'll never forget one of my bosses called me a few years back and was like, "Hey, like, can you cover the wrestling trials for the Olympics?" Have I ever covered wrestling? No. Did I need like a crash course on wrestling as fast as possible? Yes. But I feel empowered because of my experience is that I could step into really any sport and figure it out. And people always ask me like, how do you do that? Well, one, it's reading a lot, it's watching a lot. I go back and watch so I did the wrestling trials leading up to the Paris Olympics. So I watched the previous trials, right, from Tokyo. So it's research, it's preparation. Yeah, you over prepare and you use like 1% of it. And then I do a lot of what we call air jumpers. So air jumper. So, for example, I was on maternity leave for a while, and now when I'm getting back into TV, it's in the reporting role. So, the first time I'll do play by play probably won't be till like later this year. So, I may have gone like 8 months without calling a game. So, I have it on my to-do list every week to get air jumpers up. And that's where I just pull up a highlight of a game and I simulate calling it just so I can get in the flow. So, it's just like someone who's practicing in their driveway, like, when they have the opportunity to hit the game winner. We all got to get air jumpers up. And so, yeah, it's just putting in the work and hopefully the work translates to the court or in my case the screen.
It's just a really exciting time for NBC Sports right now as well, getting the NBA coverage back. Where
Yeah.
is your excitement level, like you mentioned, coming back from maternity leave? And now, really, this role could even expand into other areas.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think everybody's excited for the NBA's return to NBC, just the iconic brand and obviously round ball rock and all that kind of stuff. And it starts with opening night. The Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Houston Rockets. There's a lot of storylines there. Yes, the Thunder, they're going to get their ring, but then KD is coming back to where it all started. And, the Thunder get a championship, but it's not with him. He's gone elsewhere. So, yeah, it's like I'm getting back to my roots in terms of like how my career in sports started in the NBA. The NBA is a special league, it's a special place. So I'm really excited to tell the stories of the athletes in the NBA again. It'll be good. And it's gonna be in a different way. Like when I was with the Bucks, I was covering one team, and every day you had to find like a different angle to keep it interesting. Right? Like an 82 game season, months and months, it's like, okay, Zora, we get it. Giannis is great. Tell us something new. Whereas now it's going to be more high level because when somebody turns on a national broadcast, say on Sunday night, they're not as ingrained in that team. We don't think they're watching that team every day. So you're just gonna have to catch them up to speed on the cliff notes, right? So it's understanding roles. It's understanding, hey, is this a game in January when everyone's dog tired? Or is this a game in March where everybody's vying for a playoff spot, right? It's understanding the athletes and what part of the season they're in. So I'm really excited.
Two more questions here before we wrap up. Thank you for taking all this time here today. There's a
Yeah.
lot of college athletes now who want to get involved in television and broadcast. What would your advice be to them when they have to continue with their athletic obligations and make sure that they're performing at their highest level, but then also still trying to get experience in their potential career someday?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, never forget why you're there. It's for the academics and the sport that you play. So you want to make sure like whatever you add on, that you never forget how you're there and why you're there. And then it's seeing what your coaches are comfortable with, what your capacity is, and realizing that, I mean, I've had a number of jobs since I graduated college, and I haven't applied online to any of them. Like, I haven't seen a job posting online for any of them. Even my first job ever, it was an internship, and the news director at that internship was like, "Hey, Zora's about to graduate. Do you have a spot for her?" So I just share that message with student athletes because it's all about connecting with humans, having genuine relationships with people before you need a job so that they naturally just want to help you when it is time for you to get a job. So that's like the foundation of the advice I would give. Yeah, we can get into the nitty-gritty and, kind of some of the nerdy stuff when it comes to broadcasting, but I think at the forefront of like anything, it is relationships, 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 fostering those relationships and being genuine with those relationships.
Yeah, tremendous advice. And I end every single one of these interviews the same way. You've mentioned multiple times how Elon is so special to you. You
Mhm.
met your husband there. But what does Elon mean to you in your career trajectory in your own life?
Well, Elon for anyone means a place that allows you to find yourself and allows you to figure out what you like, what you don't like, allows you to fail and get back up. Elon is a beautiful place for that. And for me, it gave me a place to grow up. I mean, and I mean that not just age-wise, but like intellectually, and a place to mature, and still, you know, leave a whole human. It was like, I mean, all that we get to do there is amazing, especially as a student athlete. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and I'm not just talking about the grass that is freshly manicured all the time. It's the humans there, and for 10 plus years later, for me to now only live like 45 minutes from Elon, and my husband works there. It's just come full circle, and I bring up the word family so much in my story. Elon is now part of that family.
Full circle is definitely the perfect way to say it. So happy that you're back on the sidelines. Looking forward to your coverage for the rest of the year. And again, thank you for being here today, Zora.
Thanks for having me, Griffin.